We want to look at the effects of change in the interest rate during the life of a loan, and that comes from your Via Africa Learner's Book. You need to put everything together, so we're going to recap on exercise 1, 2, and 3. From exercise 1, you were taught or you practiced calculating the deposit as a percentage of the selling price. Then you had to be able to use the factor table in order to find the monthly repayments. We also investigated what happened when we increased the deposit and the effect it had on the real cost of the loan. We saw it decreased. When the interest rate decreased, the real cost of the loan also decreases. By increasing the life of a loan, you paid less each month, your monthly repayments were less, but that increased the real cost of the loan. In exercise 2, we did the modeling of the loan in a table. You had to complete the table showing the opening balance, all the calculations to the closing balance. Then you had to complete the table the other way around, working from the closing balance to the opening balance. And then the other thing we noticed was the final payment in the last month of the loan is different to the others. It is usually more than the monthly repayments for the previous, in this case, 299 months. And the reason for that is because your closing balance at the end of the life of the loan must be 0. Now, working backwards, it's important to remember that in order to find the opening balance, you have to take the balance plus interest divided by 1 plus the interest rate. And our interest rate in our first calculations was 10.5%, so you're going to have 1 plus 0.105. And then the interest to fill in the table, you take the balance with the interest, the big amount, and you subtract the opening balance, which you've just calculated, and that will give you the interest. The real cost, we saw that we had to revisit the real cost of the loan, the monthly repayment, times the number of months. So, for example, in our Cosmo City home, it was 300 months, so we took the monthly repayment of 3,270, multiplied it by 299 months, and then we added the final payment, which was just over 4,000 Rand, to bring the balance to 0. In exercise 3, we just investigated what happened by increasing the monthly repayment, and we saw that there's quite a difference. There's a noticeable difference even if you're increasing your monthly repayment by 100 Rand. The loan life decreases, and then obviously the real cost of the loan decreases. Now we'll be moving on into today's work and the work for exercise 4. And the purpose for today's work is to investigate the effects of change in interest rate, what happens to the real cost of a loan, and then the outcomes. You must be able to explain what happens to the real cost of a loan when the interest rate increases. Welcome back, grade 12s. We're going to relook at the house in Cosmo City. If you remember from exercise 1, the cost of the house was 385,000 Rand. The loan after the deposit was subtracted was 346,500, and that is the amount we graphed and the amount we modeled in a loan table. The life of the loan was 25 years. You use the factor table to calculate the monthly repayments, and those monthly repayments were 3,270 Rand 96 cents. And up to now, we've worked in a perfect world where there are no increases in the interest rate, but that doesn't happen. So it stayed the same for the first 5 years. So the interest rate for the first 5 years was 10.5%. And that's how we calculated the 3,270.96. For the next 20 years, the interest rate, okay, so this was the first 5 years. For the next 20 years, the interest rate increased to 12.5%. Okay, now let's have a look and see what happens to the real cost of the loan, because ultimately that's what we want to work out. How much is it going to cost us? So the first thing you have to do, you have to go and recalculate your monthly repayments. So what we've done here is we've taken a snippet of the loan table, just the things that were relevant. So we are calculating 20 years at an interest rate of 12.5. So we are in fact looking at the factor 11.36. So how are we going to use that? Well, you must know how to put it into the formula. So the formula said, okay, so the monthly repayments was the loan amount divided by 1,000 and multiplied by the factor. Please remember that this factor is purely a number. It is not rands and it's not interest. Another thing that you have to notice, the loan amount, it's not the reduced amount, it is the original amount of the loan, which was 346,500 Rand. We divide that by 1,000 and multiply that by 11.36. Please know how to work out the monthly repayments. You will be given the formula. And if you calculate that, you will get an answer of 3,936 Rand and 24 cents. If you have a look and see how much more this is, you will see that your monthly repayments have increased by 665 Rand and 28 cents. That means that the homeowner has to find another 665 Rand a month on top of his other expenses. And hopefully the interest rate won't increase over the next 20 years. Now, the next thing we want to do is we now want to see what the real cost of the loan is. So the real cost right, we're not going to be as pedantic as to the last month's payment. So this is not 100% accurate, but for a homeowner, it's accurate enough. So the first 5 years, okay, 5 years is equal to 12 times 5, which equals 60 months. For the next 20 years, we have 20 multiplied by 5. Nonsense, I'm talking nonsense. 20 multiplied by 12. So 20 years is going to be 12 months multiplied by 20 years, and that will give you 240 months. Right, let's go and have a look what each one of these is going to work out to be. So for the first 5 years, you were paying 3,000. Let's just have a look here. 3,270,96. 3,270,96, and we're going to multiply it by 60. And if you take out your calculator and you do that calculation, you're going to get 196,257 and 60 cents. For the remaining 20 years, you are going to take the new repayment, the monthly repayment, which was 3,936 Rand and 24 cents, and you're going to multiply it by 240 months. If you take your calculator out and you work that out, you are going to get 944,697.60. Now I must add these two together. I'm going to add, and my final amount is 1,140,955.20. If we work out the increase due to interest rate increase, it is going to be, well, remember, so we're going to take our new value, 1,140,955,20, minus, if we worked in the ideal world like we did yesterday, we found that the home would cost 982,000. No, not a comma there. 982,000. 198 rand and 8 cents. If I do that calculation, you are going to get 158,757.12, which is quite a substantial amount, nearly 160,000 rand more for that house. What is more scary, if I go and do the percentage increase from the 346,500 to the 1 million, you will work out that it is a 229.28% increase, which is astronomical. If I did another calculation, so in other words, I took 1,140,955 and I divided it by the original loan amount of 346,500, I would get an answer of 3,3, which means you can buy that house 3 times, or you can buy 3 houses for the amount that you pay back. I hope you're beginning to understand the sooner you pay off your home loan, the better. Please will you do exercise 4 on page 115 for your next maths lesson. So page 115, exercise 4.